Hello everybody, and welcome once again to the Adventures Travel Club television show. I'm Marv Harrison, joined by Betty Girardin.
I'm Betty Girardin.
You look very colorful today, Betty.
I know.
Are those your springy clothes?
Actually, this is something I wear a lot on my trips because I don't get lost. People don't get lost. They can see me, you know. Hey, here we are.
And you've got red shoes on today too, but those are not your regular red traveling shoes, are they?
No, those are the tennis shoes that are high. But this is fine.
How'd you ever get that idea of the big red tennis shoes?
Well, actually, they were a present to me from my son, and I just wore them. Yeah.
I think it's great because you can't miss Betty, especially if you're in the airport and looking all over the floor, you know, and there she is. So.
There I be. There I be.
That's great. Listen, I've got to tell you, I got a very nice phone call the other day from somebody that went on the trip to New Zealand and Australia, and they were just full of wonderful compliments saying what a great job you did, how absolutely marvelous the trip was. It went off without a hitch, and they were just so enthused they're signing up to go with us on another trip.
That's right.
Isn't that nice?
I didn't know this about the phone call. Honest to goodness, I didn't. It's not planned. You just now telling me
this.
Right.
Yeah.
That must have been Marcelina, because I did talk to her afterwards, and she wants to go to Spain with us.
Oh, that's great. Well, that's wonderful. We do appreciate those nice letters and phone calls that you send us.
Actually,
that's great.
We got another one from the Phillips who live in Lake Hughes, and they went to New Zealand with us, and she says, we're going to Spain. Betty, send the information.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
Nice?
That's great.
We have lots of repeats.
Yes, indeed. In fact, Betty is going to be loading them up pretty quick. We have a sellout trip going to China in just a few weeks, and you're looking forward to that one?
Oh, yeah, I really am. And I have a waiting list for that. So as long as we have people that are still interested, we'll probably do it again next year.
Good.
Because that's the one that you see the Great Wall, and you see the Forbidden City, and you go down the river, and it's just beautiful. I keep trying to get Marv to show it again on TV. So maybe we'll do it at the end of the year.
Yeah, we probably will give you a taste again of China. But one of the trips I want to talk about that will be coming up pretty soon. We do have a lot of room left, although Betty tells me, though, that this is filling up very fast, too. And that's our Rome, Holy Land, and Cairo trip that's going to be scheduled for May the 4th. I just happen to have one of the brochures right here.
Wasn't that convenient?
Yes.
Actually, we have 26 people already for that. And, you know, I don't take big crowds, and that isn't pressuring you. But if you want to come, let me know, because we will cut it off.
Betty, the price on this is very good, too. $27.50 per person. And that's round trip that from Los Angeles to Rome, the Holy Land, Cairo, and all the way back again. And that includes breakfast and dinner and all of our tours. And that's just wonderful. I don't know how you can do it for that price.
Well, we have a very good wholesaler. We've gone with him for many years. This is our 6th trip there, except we didn't do Cairo before. So I think that's going to be really exciting. I've been there, and I've seen the pyramids and the Sphinx. But they tell me they're beginning to crumble. Well, it's going to be a lot,
isn't?
Not in my lifetime, but
what isn't crumbling?
So it really should be a wonderful trip. A trip to the Holy Land is one that stays with you all your life.
Oh, that certainly does. That really does. And we hope that that if you do have an interest in that you give Betty a call. Let's give our number here at the beginning of the program. We'll also do it again at the end of the show too. Your number is
488-7443. They say you say it too fast.
I do. I have a tendency to rush through things. You know?
Did you get that? 488-7443.
And we'll repeat that again at the end of the program too. So if you do have an interest in that, give Betty a call. Now, also, you were saying, you were telling me the other day that even though the early bird special is gone on our trip up to Alaska, that you still have some pleasant surprises for people that would like to go on our Alaska cruise in August. The Inside Passage up on the Westerdam we leave from Vancouver. Actually, we leave from Fresno, but we get on the ship in Vancouver and go on up through the Inland Passage. And so can people still contact you on that?
People can contact me. I'm sending out some other cards, and hopefully they will reach those of you that had asked for information on the trip, thinking, oh, it's too late now. It's never too late.
Betty can always get a good deal for you, one way or the other.
All right.
Good. Okay, and we're going to take a little special tour. Speaking about Canada, we're going to go I'm speaking about Canada because that's what we're going to take a look at on this adventure. We're going to take a look at Western Canada, and of course that's where we're going to be leaving from on our trip. We'll be leaving from Vancouver, but we'd like you to take a look at some scenes of this particular area of Canada, and we think that you'll enjoy it. And after that film is over with, we'll be back to tell you more about some of our travels here on the Adventures Travel Club television show.
Pacific to the edge of the Great Plains. Western Canada is a frozen ocean of stone. These peaks are the ancient ruins of earlier seas. These mountains tell us of inland oceans into which poured the sediments of 1,000 ancient rivers. The sands and silts laid deeply one upon the other, hardened into stone. It is not well known what turned the seafloor on edge to form mountains, but the forces must have been immense. Only the shifting of continents, it seems, could have so altered the crust of the earth. Time of inconceivable duration watched over the inland surf until the great floating plate that carries our continent careened into one of its slowly moving neighbors. The force of collision rippled inland. The floor of the sea rose, and Western Canada had new ranges of colossal peaks and jumbled, broken valleys. In the passing of each of the great natural cycles, something of what has shaped the surface of the earth is left behind. The Rockies will not forget their past. Sea winds still wash over the silent summits. On an earth rippling under the weight of its own great turning, wanderers pick their way through a frozen storm of stone. The end of the brief, fierce alpine summer is announced by poplar leaves that yellow in the cold, clear air. The summer crowds are gone. High above the valleys, the fall winds rush loudly through great evergreen forests of lodgepole pine, white spruce and fir. Though they are coniferous, the needles of the larch turn gold under the intense blue of the alpine autumn. The first snows silence the peaks, then the valley floor. Banff is Canada's first, and in many ways, premier national park. It is part of an extensive system of landscape reserves that protects many of the most significant natural places in Canada. Banff is connected directly with Jasper, Kootenay, and Yoho into the 4 mountain park network. Recognized by the United Nations as one of the most important natural reserves on Earth. The Icefields Parkway, the window on the wilderness. Connecting Lake Louise and Jasper, it winds through the spectacular peaks and valleys of the Great Divide. Though carefully maintained by the Canadian Park Service, this great way is virtually untraveled in fall, winter, and early spring. The wilderness creeps up to the edge of the road. This is one of the few places in the world where national parks have been created not just around a spectacular mountain or mountain range, a unique geological feature, or a stunning vista. Though all of these are bountifully found here. This wilderness embodies an entire ecosystem. A landscape large enough and with sufficient natural diversity to support the feeding, breeding, and migration of a great tangled raft of fragile life that floats on this frozen ocean of stone and snow. The days grow shorter. Food grows scarce, and the energy required to find it harder to spare. The mountains brood. Darkness falls. December. The bitter, hungry midnight of the mountain year. Native Indians and the earliest explorers in the Canadian Rockies traveled regularly in winter. The first recorded European expeditions cut obliquely through these valleys to reach the easiest passes that led to the Pacific 1,000 kilometers away. The Yellowhead, Athabasca Pass, Howes Pass, and the Kicking Horse were more than just trails. They became cracks in a stone curtain through which the idea of a nation reached slowly westward to the coast. After Canada was born, tracks were laid through Lake Louise in the south and Jasper in the north. And the desire for winter travel came to a temporary end. Created in 1885, the Canadian National Park System embraced the new notion of wilderness. And mountains became summer sanctuaries to which pilgrims would return again and again for the solace of so much open space. The Grand Railway hotels offered elegant living right in the midst of the staggering beauty of Canada's suddenly accessible peaks. Victorian adventurers took full advantage of this unique opportunity to make history while drawing spiritual and physical refreshment from the wilderness. The world was bright and new to them. The winter of misunderstanding mountains was over. The demons and alpine dragons that had populated the evil peaks were gone, leaving only trails lit with friendly firelight. Residents of the Parkway country were the great bushwhackers, the local guides, horse packers, and outfitters. Hard-cussing, hard-living heroes like Bill Pito, Jim Simpson, and Ralph Edwards led pilgrims from the train tracks to the glorious summits of unclimbed, unnamed peaks. Cutting trails through the burnt forests and the muskeg, they gave climbers and adventurers the time to leave the city behind. As long days passed beneath the sparkling glaciers, travelers slowed to the eternal rhythms of the land. Even the most single-minded were often visited by a sense of well-being that changed their lives. Captured by the silence and the unutterable beauty of the Rockies, some never went home. The books and published accounts of their journeys began to speak softly but eloquently of a wonder trail, a difficult but rewarding path to the primeval peaks that possessed an extraordinary charm. It was said that there was an enchantment that came over the traveler in this great, lone land. The perfection of the automobile dramatically altered the nature of these peaks. The popular new technology demanded access to every valley and every peak. By 1930, Banff and Jasper National Parks had grown to embrace the entire Wonder Trail. It was not long before the idea of a circle drive was proposed along the Great Divide from Jasper to Banff. The opportunity to build the road did not present itself in good times. Began as a depression relief project in 1931, the construction relied heavily on backbreaking manual labor in difficult terrain. After it was completed in the autumn of 1939, the whole world came to see the newly accessible peaks and the silent, fabled valleys of the Great Divide. The Wonder Trail had become the Wonder Road. Over the more than 50 years since the Wonder Road was opened, the facilities and services in Lake Louise, Banff, and Jasper have been dramatically upgraded to please ever more demanding visitors. Without the real and immediate presence of so much wilderness, this might be just one more crowded resort. People have returned to winter travel, not because they have to, but because the stillness of so long and beautiful a winter speaks crisply and clearly to them. There is still enchantment in the echoing absence of all but rock and trees. Wonder is an intangible sense of awe. The Wonder Trail is now called the Icefields Parkway, celebrating the many ice fields and the nearly 200 glaciers that can be seen from the Wonder Road. The snow that falls on these mountains doesn't all melt. On plateaus that stretch between the peaks, it settles, deepening and hardening into ice. Compressed by its own huge weight, the ice flows into neighboring valleys as glaciers. In the Rockies, there are hundreds of glaciers flowing gracefully out of the ice fields that form them, or hanging precariously from ledges and rock walls. In the past, the climate of this continent cooled, and 4 times, ice like this ground its way eastward to the plains, colliding often with the great glaciers that advanced southward from the pole. But the sun came to end each age of ice, and the ice withdrew to wait with glacial patience for the cold to come again. Along the Great Divide, the ice is waiting. Waiting. At frequent intervals along the parkway, there are small hostels from which it is possible to ski from the door of your cabin right into the silence. Established in Alberta in 1933, the Canadian Hosteling Association exists to promote economical adventure in the most interesting of mountain places. It is from these rustic centers that many expeditions into the remotest realms of the sea of stone and snow begin. Moonlight bathes the porcelain peaks. It is so bright you can read at night. The days grow longer under the fierce alpine sun. The raft of life begins to turn green on the sea of stone and snow. That all the agents of the earth should conspire to create such a land must overwhelm us. It is in these watershed places that our planet replenishes its air and its water. Here we can touch the pattern that connects us to the living surface of the earth. We are entrusted now with some of the world's most precious beauty. That beauty, like the rivers, begins in the Rockies. it washes over the prairies and onward to the sea. If it should be possible anywhere to feel close to nature and close to ourselves, it should be here, in these mountains.
Hope that you enjoyed that little tour of Western Canada, and reminding you again that we are going to be leaving from Vancouver, Canada on August, is that August the 1st or 2nd?
Yeah, you tell me. When
I'm trying to remember, is it the 1st or the 2nd?
Well, the 1st.
The 1st, okay, that's the 1st.
I keep track of him, you see, as we go along.
Well, you have so many dates, it's hard to remember all of these things. Oh,
Well,
listen, we haven't even talked about Greece.
No, and we haven't talked about Spain.
Or southern France or Portugal or the Azores.
We have lots of places yet to talk about.
That's right,
yeah.
and those trips are all coming up, this year. So
Spain is September 4th. And when I say Spain, that's just not Spain.
No, that's
Madrid. We start in Madrid, and then we go to Saragossa, we go to Lourdes, we go to Pamplona, we go down to Avila, Salamanca, we go over then to the Azores, and we go to Coimbra. And
lots of places in between,
Fatima, and then Lisbon itself, to toot around there, and then over to the Azores. Doesn't that sound great?
And you left out Toledo, Spain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great place. Isn't that a great city?
It is so
it's just beautiful.
beautiful.
It is really nice.
Truly is. It's the old, and it's
a
up
walled
on the
city,
hill,
right?
It's great.
And
it's just great.
and all of the things to see there, the El Greco paintings in the cathedral, and well, there's a lot of things that we could show you about. But we're running out of time rapidly. But we do want to tell you about our trip to Greece. Now this is a real exciting trip.
The date was changed on that too. Simply, when we went to get our final date set, the cruise line didn't have those dates open, so we're going to leave October 8th. 9th.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. I'm sorry. Oh, well, only God is perfect. We leave on the 9th, and the weather should be just beautiful because it's at the Mediterranean.
Oh, yes, it will be
Mediterranean?
Mediterranean. That's right. It is in the Mediterranean.
Marv is really the one that knows all the things about geography and pronunciation and the East and the West and the North.
We are going into the East, too, on that trip, because we are going to go on up to Istanbul. So we will see a little bit of Turkey on that. But this is going to be both seeing a lot of Greece as far as the land is concerned, and then for 7 days we will be cruising the Greek Isles, and as we say, we will also be going up to Istanbul, and boy, this is going to be an exciting trip.
And Greece is beautiful. It truly is. When the plane comes in, if we come in the daytime, it's all white. All the houses are whitewashed, And
if you can see through the smog.
No. At least it wasn't when I was there. I don't know. It's been a long
I was
time.
going to say Athens is getting a little
been
smoggy,
a long time.
but we don't care about that, because we're going to be cruising around the Mediterranean, and we'll be on all the beautiful Greek Isles. Oh, that's going to be so nice. So if you're interested in that trip too, we want to give you our telephone number and our address. Betty's phone number is
488-7443.
One more time.
488-7443.
Or you can write to us at 1550 North Fresno Street, Fresno 93703. We have lots of trips to talk about, and we have brochures to send you, so give us a call or drop us a line. That's all the time that we have now, but we'll see you next time on the Adventures Travel Club television show. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.